This is the Home Tech Podcast, show number 51, recorded for November 10th, 2011. I am your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in Bellevue, Nebraska, and posted each week with world-class show notes over at the AverageGuy.tv. You can, of course, contact the show, podcast at the AverageGuy.tv, or track me down on Twitter. Just follow me at jcollison. You also find us on Facebook or on iTunes now by searching for the Average Guy Podcast. And please, if you're out on iTunes and you like the show, leave us a little comment. That helps with the search rankings out there at iTunes. We've also set up all the links that you'll ever need to automatically download this podcast to your iPhone, iPod, iPad, or any other Android phone or tablet device. Just head over to the AverageGuy.tv and look for the iTunes or RSS buttons. They're over on the right-hand side of the screen. You can't miss them. They're organized by show. Just click on those and follow the instructions, and they'll get you right there, and you won't miss a show every week. Speaking of missing a show, we almost missed a show tonight. A lot of problems with Skype, and so we'll pray that the Skype gods favor us this evening as we get going. But speaking of favor, let's introduce our first host here, Andrew Morris, and I favor him because he lives underneath the planet in a place called Australia. Andrew, how are you doing? I called you under the earth last time, and that you said, "What, am I dead?" I think that's
I think last week you were calling me a troll, so now I'm Atlas. I'm holding up the world.
You are. You guys in Australia are holding up the world for us, and we greatly appreciate it as you head into spring, and it's getting colder here and warmer there, so it's got to be good for you.
It is. It's magic down here today. Beautiful blue sky.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, welcome. Pinch hitting tonight, both Christian and Gary are out, and if you listen to the show for any length of time, you know that usually Gary will pinch hit for Christian when he's not in, but both of them are out this evening, so filling in. I pulled him in from the bullpen, John Zajdler. John, how are you doing tonight?
Hi, Jim. Yeah, option number 3. I'm in.
You're the lefty. I went out to the mound, and I pulled in the lefty.
Yeah.
And it's always good to have you out here, John. Thanks for agreeing to be on the show tonight.
Sure. Always good to visit.
And, of course, in his rotation spot and playing shortstop, so we'll just stay with the baseball motif, I guess. Playing shortstop is our friend Gordon Schmidt. Gordon, how are you doing this evening?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on again, Jim.
Yeah, you bet. It's always good to have you, Gordon. You know, we're about 6 weeks in between guest hosts. So what's you doing any cool tech stuff over the last 5 or 6 weeks?
Nothing much. My home server threw me for a little loop this morning and decided to give me a recovery screen. Apparently something happened around 3 a.m., but did a restart. It rebuilt some of the mirrors I had on the RAID, and everything seems to be working fine so far.
Right. And that's V1 or V2?
V2.
Oh, all right. Wow, that's a little scary when that happens on version 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd hate to see it if you didn't have a screen on it, if you're running headless.
I'm using, what is that, Microsoft, drawing a blank now, Mouse Without Borders, using that with a small 15-inch screen sitting next to the rest of the screens here, and just have it running some resource monitor and different things monitoring it for now.
Yeah, that's one thing I use is that's it. Ever since you guys talked about it in one of the podcasts about another one, and then this Mouse Without Borders came out, and now I'm using it too because I got the MediaSmart server, and ordinarily it doesn't come with a keyboard and mouse. I mean, you can still plug a USB keyboard and mouse, but that's it. I don't have that plugged in. I use the Mouse Without Borders, and I have the second monitor, and that's it. I can just move over to that monitor and check what I want to do, and away you go. You can't use it for like booting up functions, where you hit F8 or delete or whatever to get into the BIOS. But in a pinch there, it's good not to have 2 keyboards and 2 mice on the same desk.
Yeah, we've talked about that quite a bit over the last 6 or 7 weeks, and hopefully some folks have picked up on that. And if you've got multiple, I know Chris, which is a really cool application, and Chris Lux has it where he mentioned this on last week's show. So he's got his desk, and then over to his right is his big screen, which is just hooked to a computer, and he can just scroll the mouse right over to the TV and control the TV over there on his right-hand side. So it's a pretty cool application for it. And go back a couple shows. That's, 4 or 5 shows. We've got some show notes for Mouse Without Borders. And what was the other one?
Input Director.
Okay. Yeah. Two to try if you haven't done those yet. Well, it's been a weird tech week in a lot of ways. Not, the news was dominated by the iPhone 4S couple weeks ago. Of course, before that, the death of Steve Jobs, and so there's been some big tech news. But I think, Andrew, and I want to talk to you a little bit about this, and that's HP's entry back into the. I mean, they've made it very clear they're not going to cancel their PC division or sell it or close it or whatever they've done, and that this sounds like they are going to hold on to that, and that after all was said and done, that division actually makes a lot of money for the company. I think it's something we all knew, and we thought it was crazy when they were going to spin it off. Any thoughts from you on that?
Yeah, I think part of it was, I think the reading from what the press, the media are saying is the former CEO didn't really understand that business in that it was low margin. So the new CEO being Meg Whitman, formerly of eBay, she understands, I think, that small margin in large volume makes a lot of money. So I suspect that's why they've that's one of the reasons why we're keeping the division. And I mean, it's probably one of the most well-known divisions I think that HP has aside from printers. So to me, it was sort of a bit of a shock when there was the decision made originally to get rid of it.
Yeah, and then I guess this week they also sent a note out to its employees saying they still don't know what to do with the WebOS. So I guess some decisions haven't been made on that either.
Yeah, that one was that was a press release. I think it was The Verge, was it, who were covering that at the time, and I think they're a bit up in the air at the moment as to one, whether they'll keep it, and two, whether it's what they'll do with it if it's kept. I know originally when Palm was purchased, they were talking about integrating WebOS into printers and all your touch type devices that have a firmware layer running under them.
Right.
So whether or not it does see integration into printers and server enclosures and stuff like that, I guess will remain to be seen.
Sure. Gordon, let me ask you this question. Do you, from a printer standpoint, would you really use a touchscreen on a, if you bought a big printer, how would you see that being used, or from your perspective, what would make sense from having a touch OS on a printer screen?
So I myself pretty much never print, but my wife does, and we had a printer a couple years ago, didn't use it a lot. She wanted another one, so I did pick up a HP TouchSmart printer, and it has apps on it, but you can't go into the app. So if it had a tablet that you could detach from it, but it was hard linked to the printer, and she could go to coupon websites or do other things and be able to wirelessly sit on the couch or something and be able to print from it seamlessly.
Okay. Yeah.
I could see value in that.
Yeah. Andrew, you see any usage to have that kind of stuff on? That was the big justification for the web. I shouldn't say the only justification, but one of the justifications that they were going to put it on printers. Do you see any use in that?
I think it's probably more relevant to your enterprise printers, so your big MFDs where you can do your your fax and your send to email and all that type of thing direct from that panel.
Okay.
So I think that's my read on it. I thought they were going to go down that path, so that they're taking away that proprietary lockdown, fairly inflexible interface, so that they can put something on it that's a bit more interactive and people will probably use it a bit more.
Yeah.
That sort of competitive edge. I mean, you look at a Xerox printer, you look at an HP printer at the moment, they're fairly synonymous. So I think, it probably would have given the printer division that little bit of an edge by having something a little bit cooler.
Gordon, you made a comment that you don't print anymore. And John, do you have a need to print at this point? Do you print anything?
I have a Brother printer that I use more for scanning my documents to get them onto my PC, and that's it. Printing not too much, because I find I don't print a lot, and then the ink dries out. So unless I go for a printer that has dry toner, that's it. It's I don't print a lot, and then I have to go buy new cartridges because they dried out. So then it's you're printing, you're not printing.
Right.
So you go long gaps in between printing.
Right.
So I think if I had dry toner, then I might be more of a casual printer.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. And Gordon, you're obviously not printing, but you said your wife still prints maybe coupons. I know we print maps from time to time. Although now that my wife has an iPhone, we may not be printing maps anymore either, which it would be nice. She's listening, so Sarah, use the freaking maps on your phone. But she won't like that. But any other things that you guys print that you could? I mean, if I took your printer away from you, would you really miss it that much?
I don't think so. Since we bought it a couple months ago, we haven't used it a lot. So
yeah, I use my scanner too, like John does. Andrew, do you print much?
I print a fair bit. I'm the membership secretary for a car club, so I print probably 20 to 30 pages a week with envelopes and things like that as part of the mail app piece that we do for the members.
So you're still sending snail mail stuff out?
Yeah, we do it because primarily because we still have members who don't have email.
Really?
Believe it or not, yeah.
Wow. How does that happen? How does that happen? Did I lose you guys?
Well, maybe Andrew.
Did I lose Andrew?
Yeah, maybe Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've heard anybody say that they don't have an email address.
Yeah. Hold on, we'll get Andrew back here in just a second.
All right.
If let me hang up on him and then try and call him back. Well, we made it 15 minutes or so. See if we can get. It seems like we're going through the cycle. First it was John, and then you, Gordon, and then Andrew has gone offline. I bet it's got to be Skype that's causing this problem. Now it's going over to his phone. Yeah, I can't. It would be weird to think of a scenario where you wouldn't have an email address. Now, I do know of people who have email addresses and never check them.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, good, Andrew. We were. I was saying that that's kind of strange to think of a day when people don't have an email address, and I said, I talk to a lot of folks who have them and only check them once a week or every other week, something like that. But really, no email address?
Yeah, I think it's more the older set. So we've got a lot of members who are heavily into motorsport, which is why they're members of the club. So they get an affiliation with the Federation of Australian Motorsport by being a member. So they're more interested in getting their race car on the track and racing as opposed to keeping up with technology. So they're the ones who don't visit our forums and they don't have email. So I think it's a large part of it's just the set of who those people are.
Okay, yeah, that's weird to think of a day when that's happened. When my mom has email, she's 85, but I guess it hasn't penetrated all the way into every nook and cranny. John, you know anybody without email?
Yeah, I guess I would say my mom doesn't have email. She doesn't use a computer. She's in her 80s. Forget it. It's like, sometimes you kind of wonder, especially like, let's say somebody who's got a bit of like, a life that they live in the cabin and stuff like that. It's like, they don't want technology. It's like, I can live without it. Sometimes you have the technology and it just seems sometimes it's making your life more busy. So it's like, let's just get away from some of that technology. So some people, I think, might want to live that way.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't know about your mom, Jim, but I think it's funny the older generation tends to grab and not understand email and grabs whatever email their ISP gives them, and if they switch ISPs, they contact us to have them switch them over to a new email. And
yeah. That's the secret, right? Is one email for life type deal. And we were just talking about that in the pre-show of, buying a domain. I was going to buy, at collison.com, or that's of course not available, but and then I thought, so then I could have Jim at collison.com. That day is over, right? I mean, even if I did get it, no one would care that it was cool, like in 1997, that you would have that, right? And today that just doesn't matter. I mean, we have so many more automated ways, and we're in almost everybody's message, or contact list that way. That I really think the day, I mean, I don't think anybody cares what your email address is anymore. You're going to store it once. I'm going to go back to it by typing your name, and it's going to show up, and I don't care what it is. So I think those days of personalized email is over, and it's just keeping the same one. I mean, I've had my Yahoo one since 1995, maybe 1996. I've had that same Yahoo address, and you keep one, and just I funnel all my accounts right to it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just like like that's like a lot of companies, like we said before. Let's say you forward to whatever, or you sometimes you have a lot of these programs that are efficient at forwarding your emails. So you can. I'm sure it's going to be more in the future that I'm going to say, what's your email, and you're just going to say Jim Collison, and then I'll just go and type in Jim Collison, and maybe it'll give me a couple of choices, of what's available, and then it's Jim Collison from Nebraska. That's the one,
Right.
And bang, and then it goes, So it's going to be like more, like in a way, personal and less complicated, So it won't be like, was it .coca, .cu, .ck, whatever, It's like it gets confusing, just like now in some browsers, you don't have to type in like Walmart.com. You can just type in Walmart, and .com will pop up.
Well,
so
but don't we? Yeah, John, don't we see it? I see it a lot like the Facebook or the Twitter or the Skype model, right? Where we established this connection, right? And then at that point, it doesn't matter what your email address is because we're communicating through the platform and not through email, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so, John, I rarely send you an email now. We talk every week, but I rarely send you an email because I'm just going to catch you on Skype. And so we have a trusted relationship already. I have the same kind of relationship with folks on Facebook, and I don't know what their email address is. Don't really care. I'm going to find them on the Facebook. So did I just say the Facebook? I think I did.
You've watched the social network too much.
Maybe so, the Facebook. So I think, it's interesting just having that discussion that the days of really people knowing what your email address is, and we used to try and find ways to make those email addresses easy. I think that's pretty much over, and we just connect through our social networks now, and that makes the connection, right? We create circles in Google+, we connect via Skype, we friend on Facebook, we whatever those things are, we just do it that way. So, well, good stuff. I saw this article. I'm going to move on real quick here. I saw this article which I just could not believe, but it was the online music revenue worldwide for 2011. And there's an amazing statistic in there, which is kind of crazy to me. First of all, subscription services make up just 8%, about 8.4% of the revenue for music worldwide, at about $500 million, just over that, 532 million. And then downloaded services, what you would expect to be the bulk of the music, but it really is at 57% at about $3 billion. 3.629 billion. And then this is just amazing to me, ringtones, right? Personalization services is what they call it. Ringtones, 2.172 billion. That makes up 34% of the market in ringtones. And I thought, really, who in the heck is buying these ringtones? I've never used a ringtone. Now, maybe it's because I'm a tech guy, right? I've never bought or used a ringtone, but maybe, I don't use ringtones even if they were available to me. But guys, have you guys bought ringtones on your phone?
Never.
Well, I don't understand why somebody would go and buy a ringtone when there's so many applications for iPhone, Android, Windows Phone 7, where you can just go out there, take any MP3 you own, and cut any, 10, 30 second, a minute, whatever, out of that song and make it your ringtone.
Right, yeah. And even manually with a program like Audacity, we're using that right now to record the show. You could take your MP3, drop it into Audacity. It shows it as a WAV file. Then you can just slice out whatever you want and then import that to your phone. Although I think there's people who just don't want to mess with that. I mean, this has got to be what it is. They just don't want to mess with it. Hey, I'll pay 99 cents or whatever, $2.99. I find that hard to believe, but maybe 99 cents. Just give me the ringtone, and I want to be done with it.
So how easy is it to get a ringtone then? Do you have a menu on the phone, and you just look for ringtones, and you say, you listen to them, and then you say purchase, and it gets charged you your bill? Is that it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So that convenience there. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get the latest Taylor Swift, or I want to get the latest whatever, or personalized song that reminds me of somebody. $2 billion a year, guys.
And how much is a ringtone?
Well, I think they range anywhere from 99 cents to
I've seen them as high as $10 in Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to get in the ringtone business.
This is what's incredible, is that the ringtone will cost you more sometimes, for a little snippet, a couple of seconds of a song, when you can buy the whole song for less.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can buy that song maybe for $1. Let's just say even it's a new song, so $1.29 or $1.39 on iTunes, or even through Amazon. Here in the U.S. And then splice it up and drop it back on your phone. It's not too terrible. And I don't want to sound condescending if anybody's listening and they can't do that. But if you are buying ringtones, there's cheaper ways to do it than paying, Now, I could see 99 cents. I just get the ringtone. I'm done, right? There might be a convenience factor, and it's not even worth the time to try and figure it out.
Well, what about the other issue about like copyright stuff? If you took the ringtone from a piece of music and you add it to your phone, and other people, they hear that song, I mean, is that like a copyright infringement that you're letting other people, you're broadcasting that song to other people?
That's a can of worms, isn't it?
I don't think it's any different than if you just played that song out loud, John, and you bought it.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, just $2 billion worth. That's a lot. I mean, okay, I want to get into the ringtone business. Gordon, there's an opportunity for you.
Yeah. Do you think part of that?
I was going to say, we're going to see some of those on your site tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to start selling 79-cent ringtones.
Do you think part of that $2.1 billion could be the subscription services where you get one ringtone and then they start sending you text messages and offers that if you take them up, you get charged per text message?
I don't know. That's a good point.
I know that because often that we see a lot of that in the trash media out here. Where someone buys a ringtone for 79 cents and the next time they get a phone bill, it's at $3,000 because every time they've been sent a text message, they've been charged like $10-15 for the text message.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Good point. I think folks got to watch out for those text message. It took me, those text message sharks, right? It took me when I first got my phone. I got a text message and I mistakenly replied to it, and they charged me $10. And it took me 2 months to get that off my bill, to get them to stop doing that, and then to get that off my bill. So you have to be very, very careful about what text messages. That's one of those things that can just kind of creep up on you.
Oh yeah.
And what about if you buy another phone? Can you transfer your ringtones to the other phone, or do they kind of lock it in with the phone?
Well, I would think you'd be able to pull those right off your old phone, in a file, and just move them over to the new phone. Probably don't move automatically, but I would imagine if you bought them, it's just an MP3 file.
Okay.
Yeah, I know with T-Mobile, it links to your account. So as long as you stay with them, you retain them regardless of what phone you have.
Yeah, a lot of the new Android phones too. One of the girls at work just got an HTC Sensation, and when she went because she dropped her previous one, and when she signed back into her Google account, everything came back down. Text messages, phone numbers, ringtones, every bit of personalized content on the device.
Yeah, that's what's good about the Windows Phone 7, the Windows Phone, phones, is that you put in your Windows Live ID, and all your content starts to come down to the phone.
Yeah, and there it is. Yeah.
Well, I think if you've got a modern smartphone, it's going to back up itself in some way. I know the iPhone does that through iTunes. And I know the Android phones do that through a Google account. If you're not backing up your smartphone and you're buying things like that, especially if you're buying music on your phone and you're not moving that somewhere, with the exception of Amazon, and I don't know about the Google Music service, but the Amazon Music service is just slick. And you buy those, and they keep them for you, and you can download them to the phone if you want, or you can just listen to them from their cloud. And I've been doing a lot of that lately, too, and that works out real, real well. If you think you're going to go out of service, you can just download a bunch of those songs right to your phone. It doesn't count against anything. It still stays in the cloud. That's been a pretty good little music service. I have preferred that over the Google Plus or the Google Music, because with Google Music I have to upload, if I buy something new, I can't buy music from Google. And two, if I buy something new from Amazon, I've got to then take it and upload it to Google. So I've just stayed on Amazon. That's worked out That's worked out pretty well. Have any of you guys tried either Amazon or Google for music?
No, not me.
Huh?
We don't have them down. We don't have them down here yet.
Gordon, any?
I use Google Music, and then I've been using it on my Android tablet and my phone, and then I can just scroll through it automatically. The way I have it set up, it automatically syncs any new songs up to Google Music, and then I can just pin them to my phone if I want to download them locally.
All right. So that works pretty well.
Yeah.
All right. John, you use any music service?
Just iTunes. I buy a little bit of music from iTunes, but mostly it's the collection I already have.
Okay.
It's surprised. Even like DVD, I find I'm not even ripping a lot of DVDs. I'm not running out and buying new DVDs. I don't know if what's out there is not like good quality stuff, but it's like I have my DVD collection, and every once in a while, that's it. Since I have it ripped, I'll go and I'll listen to or watch a movie. But like buying new content and stuff like that, I'm not buying that much stuff.
Are you getting your entertainment content just right off the web, you think?
Yeah. Yeah, like TV shows, you can go to different websites, and they have a page that you can just watch it there.
Right. Yeah, I certainly for me, I've replaced a lot of my TV with web content, so it's not even. I'm not even. It's like I barely read the news anymore. That's bad. That's bad. But I'm not even finding that I'm going out where I used to go out and have RSS readers and I'd read the news all the time. I'm not. And I guess I don't even feel the need to do that. There's just so much media around me that I'm not even needing to go get anything anymore. It's just all there. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, Andrew, you had mentioned, I don't know what you're referring to here, but running multiple instances of Skype on one computer. This sounds interesting. What do you got?
Yeah, so one of the things that I discovered recently was that with the Skype service, you can dial 800 numbers, so free call numbers anywhere in the world using Skype. And because I'm such a trusting person, I don't necessarily believe that at some point in time those free call numbers won't get charged. So I created myself a second Skype account that I don't have any balance of funds in. And then I went down the path of, okay, so can I run my regular Skype account and this one without any money in it at the same time, so that I can make my 800, so all my work conference calls when I work from home now, I do it over Skype, so that I don't tie up so I don't tie up the mobile phone or use the house phone, which isn't covered by work.
Right.
So to start a second instance of Skype, you just run the Skype binary with a /secondary flag, and it opens up a second Skype instance. You sign in with your new username, and you get two Skype icons down in the taskbar.
Really, that's kind of handy.
Yeah,
I've always wondered how you would do that with two separate accounts. So they're both open, they're both working.
Yep. I can receive calls on both.
Really? So if you had two conferences going, you would be hearing both at the same time?
Haven't tried that.
Oh,
that could mess with your head, I reckon.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting to. I wonder if I could have any application for that. Now, do you guys have Google Google Phone? I don't know what you call it, right? That little keypad inside Google that you can make calls out of, and that's also free, right? Is that free for you guys there in Australia?
The Google Voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't. Google Voice hasn't been activated in Australia yet.
Okay.
I believe if you've got an account that says it's in the US, it'll work. But I've never tried it.
Gordon, have you used the keypad in Google? If you go to Gmail and you go down on the left-hand side and there's a little phone and you click that and you get a phone pad, you can dial any US number and use that for free. Have you used that?
Yeah, I've actually used it quite a bit, working from home and stuff. And actually, I found out it has a 2-hour limit.
Oh, really?
On it, it will just drop your call at 2 hours, and then you gotta call back again. But it works good. Good quality.
Interesting. That's good to know. I did not know there was a 2-hour limit on that thing. Got an important phone call, and away it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. John, is that available for you guys there in Canada?
Well, I think there's the limit there. It has to be U.S. numbers and stuff. So what I tend to use, I have a Magic Jack. So I actually cut my my regular telephone line. They were charging me like $24 a month. So I said, forget it. I upped my internet package, and now I use a Magic Jack. The thing is, with the Magic Jack, it's you have to plug it into the PC. It gets the power from the USB, and then it uses your internet that way. But I think within the past couple of weeks, they're supposed to release, or they did release, another Magic Jack that you can actually plug it into a wall to get the power for the USB, and it has a network connection. So then you would just plug that into your router, so you wouldn't need to have a dedicated PC on. So I might pop for that, because I think that runs about $50 or $60 for the unit, and you get like a 1-year subscription, and then every following year it's only about $20 to $30.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Great. Yeah, because then you're not. That's the whole thing. Is like sometimes you're saying, if you use a regular telephone line, and you're saying I'm calling somebody, am I going to get charged? Am I not going to get charged? They have like somewhere to bill you, whereas when you're doing it over voice over IP, it's like I'm using voice over IP. How can you come back and charge me for this call?
Right.
So it's a bit like it's a bit of a block there. So it's like, hey, I pick up the phone and I dial somewhere in the States or whatever, and it's like, woohoo, it's free. You start talking to people you never talked to before. Hey, how's it going? You start waking up people in the middle of the morning. Hey, just wanted to call you for free.
Just wanted to talk. That's it.
Yeah,
say hi. And by the way, this is free.
Cute.
I've found myself calling my parents from my computer here with the microphone, because the sound is so good, and so I just sit down and put the earphones in and give them a call, and I probably need to call them more often, that's for sure, but that works out well. Andrew, on the Skype side, so do you keep some credits on your Skype account then?
Yeah, my regular Skype account, I think at the moment, it's got about $10-15 in it.
Okay. And you just keep that for miscellaneous calls that you're going to make from time to time, or what?
Yeah, it's more if we need to make an international call or something like that. We used to have credit on both of our accounts, but now I think Michelle's ran down, so now we just use this one if we need to make a call out.
Because I did my first purchase of a subscription or of minutes, and I just bought the unlimited, Here in the U.S., $2.99 gets you unlimited line. We had to do for another radio show. We were calling phones, landlines for it. And I thought, well, it's like 1.9 cents a minute for. Let's see, what was the breakdown? 1.9 for one thing, 2.3 for another, or something like that. And I said, screw it. For $3, I'm just going to get the unlimited, and then I can call anybody I want on Skype, and so that was the very first time I've ever done subscription, $3 a month. So if you do use Skype and you do need to call landlines, $3 a month isn't bad. Although anymore, it's kind of silly in the U.S. to pay for anything. I mean, Google works so well, and it's free to the landline, so you can open up your Gmail and call out through there.
And it's cutting the cord too, isn't it?
Well, we cut our cord. I think I mentioned this a couple shows ago, but I actually canceled my voice over IP. So, I thought I was so cutting edge about 10 years ago. And John, just a point on your Magic Jack, one of the things you might want to do is put that Magic Jack inside a DMZ in your router and assign. Can you sign into the Magic Jack and assign an IP address, or does it just automatically get one?
Well, that's it. Now, I guess it uses the IP address of the PC it's plugged in.
Oh, okay. But the one I was thinking of the one that plugs into the wall. I wonder if you can administrate that, because when we had Packet 8s for our voice over IP, what they had us do is set up a DMZ in our router, and then we put a static IP on the voice over IP router, and that totally stabilized our voice over IP. Sometimes, if you're dealing with a dynamic address, it was, for whatever reason, sometimes it just wouldn't work right, and they had us do that. So that is kind of a hang up of voice over IP if you're using a dedicated router to do that. But even that, guys, isn't that, those days are kind of over too, right? I mean, voice over IP as a separate service now with, I don't know, Gordon, do you still have a landline?
No, we cut the landline about 2 years ago.
Okay. And just cell phones?
Yep, just cell phones.
Yeah.
Haven't missed the landline at all.
Yeah. No, I'm not planning on missing ours either. So, John, you're Magic Jack. Gordon, you're just cell phones. Andrew, you have a landline?
Yeah, we've got a landline. With our ADSL that we're currently on, you have to have a subscription service on the
package deal.
No, the exchange that we're on, there's no carrier that sells a naked DSL service.
Okay.
So we had to get a wholesale port with the big telco in Australia, which is Telstra. Where we're moving across to cable, hopefully within the next week or so. Part of the bundle deal is you have to have a landline with them, and it works out to save us $21 a month by having the landline over having the cable as a standalone product.
Okay.
So it's sort of the bundling thing.
Sure.
Will we ever make a lot of outgoing calls using the telco? We probably won't make any because we'll go voice over IP.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's for us. We were paying about $200 a year, or a little less than $20 a month for the voice over IP. That is gone now, and that's kind of I won't have to pay that here in February when it's due. Nice to kind of shed that. And when I do want to make a phone call to a landline, I just do it through Google or Skype now that I've got that credit, but or at least that unlimited. I'll probably just do it for a month and see how that works. But the communication has totally changed in the way we're doing it. So it's kind of crazy.
Especially even when you're like traveling. Let's say you got your your kid is going to Europe and they're traveling and they got a laptop. And they bring Skype with them. So it's you didn't have to worry about giving them a cell phone that had an international or a satellite phone or some kind of special the service that they have over there and pay ahead of time and all this. Is just take the laptop or a netbook or whatever and put Skype on there, and wherever you are, you can plug into a hotel. Sometimes you can get internet for $5 or whatever, and bang, call your parents, and so it's really convenient.
Right. Yeah. Rock on. Andrew, also something special at Google this week besides it not working today?
Yeah. There was an Easter egg that I think made it on the Wall Street Journal or CNN or something during the week. So if you in Firefox or Chrome, if you open the Google page itself, so with the logo on the search box and type in "do a barrel roll," the browser actually does the page in the browser actually does a barrel roll. It's quite cool. It twists itself around.
Really?
And comes back up to the search window. Really neat.
Very nice. And how did you find out about that?
It was all over Twitter. Twitter was totally alight with it.
I guess I missed that somehow.
Yeah, and I think I walked into the office and someone said, "Oh, have you done a barrel roll yet?" And I'm like, I just looked at this guy and I went, "No." And he goes, "No, I'm Google." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll play. Tell me."
and is there something else you can do in there as well?
Yeah, there's another one which I think is a couple of years old now. So if you type in "tilt" into the same search box in capital letters, it tilts the whole search result window about 5 degrees to the right. I'm not really sure of the value on that one, but I guess it was the precursor to the barrel roll. But it's very, very cool.
Oh, it does kind of tilt it.
Yeah.
That's kind of odd. That's That's kind of unsettling.
Yeah, it's a bit unnerving, isn't it?
You're like, what is wrong with my browser? I assume to get it back, I just go back to it. But yeah, tilt all capital, TILT. And then, yeah, that's kind of funny.
The do a barrel roll is kind of cool, though.
Right. Wow. Well, that's all I got. That drives me nuts.
Yeah, isn't it?
I can't take that for too long.
Yeah, and it doesn't work in Internet Explorer. I think it's something to do with the HTML compliance within the browser. So it uses something with HTML5. I'm not a big web developer, so I don't really understand the intricacies of that. But only works in Chrome and Firefox.
Interesting. And what's this about the Metro UI coming to the Chrome?
Yeah. So there was. I found this one just by accident, even though I'm not a huge fan of Metro UI on the Windows 8 developer preview. newtabpage.org have got a Chrome add-on that gives you effectively the Metro UI look for the start page in Google Chrome.
Okay, so
you
how do I get to that?
So you go to what's the URL?
This
newtabpage.org in Chrome.
All right.
And then you can add that add-in into the new page tab. So when you open a new page, you can configure Chrome to either show you your most used tiles by default, or I think a blank page, or the web store. This will then give you an extra layer of customization so that you can have, say, your Google search, you can have the weather, you can have links to Gmail and Google Docs and Google Calendar, and just another little nifty plugin.
And Box.com, Angry Birds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much whatever you want. Just gives that nice new, I guess, look to Chrome.
Yeah, newtabpage.org.
Yeah.
Get you there.
I'll throw it in the show notes as well, so people can grab it from there.
No, good stuff. And then, of course, Firefox released version 8, and does anybody even care anymore? You know,
I run it, but I just sort of tend to go with the thing that if it pops up and says I'd like to update, okay, update.
Yeah, and I do like the Chrome methodology where it just does its thing behind the scenes and you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't want to be bothered. To be honest with you, I'm kind of worn out with updates. Just like, don't tell me. I don't care. You know, just update it.
Well, tell me when it's done. Don't tell me it needs to be done.
Yeah, and I appreciate the Microsoft methodology, you know, on every Tuesday or update Tuesday, and then it reboots itself, and I'm glad it makes it secure for me, and I'm glad when I log back in it says, we've applied new updates, but I don't care anymore. Okay, great, good. Just do it, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Welcome back, John.
Howdy.
I'm kind of worn out on that. I do. Gordon, on your Galaxy tab there, does that doesn't get any kind of regular updates to it, does it?
No regular updates. It saw the jump from 3.0 to 3.1, and then pretty much since then it's been no updates. So. Yeah,
I got an announcement. What is it? Do you know? Are they going to up? You're at 3.1 right now. Is that right?
Yeah. So 4.0 would be the next step to ice cream sandwich, and they've tentatively said that yes, the Samsung Tab 10.1 will get it, but nothing official yet.
Okay, so you're on 3.1, which is honeycomb? No.
It's still honeycomb.
Okay. I got notification through the web yesterday that they were going to upgrade my Samsung Epic to 2.3, which after we just talked about those numbers, you kind of go, oh, that's not that great. But that is gingerbread for me. And so I got all excited, and so all I've done about every hour now is go out and check the check the update. You know, okay, in fact, I'm going to do that right now. About phone, system updates, Android update. Oh, your system is currently up to date. I'm like, hurry up.
And they said they're doing an OTA, over-the-air update too?
Yeah, over-the-air update, and it should, they're going to roll that out over time. So I imagine it'll take them a week to make that available to everybody on the network. But that is kind of nice. It came with 2.1, and then they quickly updated it to Froyo 2.2. And I really expected that to be the last update. And then just by surprise, I saw last night that they were going to, or 2 nights ago, that they were going to start rolling an update to the 2.3, which is gingerbread. So with it comes some nice enhancements. I've been kind of waiting to see if I'm going to get another phone. We were talking about this a little bit at the end of the Home Server show last night, but it'll make it, if it makes it better, I may just hold on to the phone for another year. It's been a little laggy on me with 2.2, and I thought, well, that the Samsung Galaxy 2 is out there, which is a dual-core processor. So I don't know.
That's
how fast can I spend money? That's the question.
Yeah. That Samsung Galaxy S2 is the one I'm looking at upgrading to eventually too, or the Google Nexus.
That Google Nexus looks nice. Does look nice. I just, it's just we plop down $200 every time we do something like that. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just one of those things. I don't know what I'm going to do at this point. And it's John, you live in a little bit of cell phone bliss, right?
Yeah, no cell phone.
Don't have to worry about that stuff. That's sometimes I wonder how you do that, and then I think maybe that's not such a bad place to live, because you're not always worried about the latest upgrade.
No, that's right.
Yeah, spending $200 every time a new phone comes out.
Yeah, today, as a matter of fact, I actually saw, because I upgraded my iPod Touch. So, even then, if I want to make a phone, you can still use the Skype on the iPod Touch where there's some internet if I'm really in a jam, But, so I think ever since I upgraded it to iOS 5, now you have this over-the-air update, so firmware update. So that's it. Because I guess the iPhone there, they had a patch they needed for the battery or something. I don't know how that affects the iPod Touch, but apparently that's it. I went in the menu and it was interesting to see that you didn't have to connect it, to like iTunes on the PC and do an upgrade that way. It was just over the air, wireless.
Yeah,
so that was cool.
That is cool.
That's my experience there. That's it. I have that bliss with the phone that I don't have to worry about.
Well, you've got kind of a phone. You just don't, right? I mean, you run a very similar OS on that Touch. What generation Touch do you have?
My son has the latest one, the one with the camera.
Sure.
And then I have the one before that one. So I think this third one there.
Third generation.
So it's on the slim side, but it doesn't have the camera. But, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's it. If I'm, in a hot spot or whatever, and if I do have to call somebody, great. But usually I use it for listening to my my music, my audio books.
Yeah. I've often thought of just getting the Touch, the most recent Touch, and then you basically have an iPhone without the service plan. And I can't think of too many things that are different on the newest iPod Touch that aren't on the iPhone. I wouldn't use it. Go ahead.
The only thing I would consider, because, that's it. Being a small form factor, when you have these, you want to hit the buttons, right? So that's why they kind of limit it to 3.5-inch screen, right? So you're using your one thumb to hit all the buttons. But I'm not constantly, that's it. It's not like a phone where you're dialing numbers. So it could be a little larger. And I think, I'm not sure if it was Nokia that came out, or they are coming out with a device. I think it's a 7-inch screen or somewhere like that. And I think they call it, I forget the company, but I think they called it the Note. And you actually have a stylus, like in the Palm days. And
That's
it's for
the
taking
Samsung Note.
Yeah? Okay.
Yep.
Do you know what size screen that is?
It's a 5-inch.
5-inch? Yep. I could see myself moving to something like that to it's not so small that, at least I could decently watch some videos on it. And if I and that's it, play some games or whatever. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to use it as a phone, so I'm not going to have this big 5-inch brick, against my ear. So at least I can watch some content. So I see myself going to maybe a bigger form factor like that for my use. So that might be the only time that I might switch. So I don't think Apple will come out with a 5-inch, iPod Touch.
Maybe they'll give in now that Steve's gone. I mean, he always held off. He didn't think that was the right form factor.
Yeah.
So maybe some things will change. Speaking of form factor, Gordon, you got this Microsoft Touch mouse that you've been talking about, and I don't particularly understand what that thing is. So tell me a little bit about it and what's been your experience with it.
Yeah. So I think it was a month ago I picked it up, and I was just looking at it and was struggling with the aspect of having dual monitors and the Windows 7 Snap to feature and wanting to snap more than two things. So I pull it over to the far left, I pull it over to the far right, it snaps just fine. If I want to snap something to the inner sides of the two monitors, I've got to take my hand off the mouse, hit the Windows key and the left or right arrow in order to do that. And so I was looking for another solution.
I didn't know that was how you did that. So you taught me something there. Thanks.
Well, that's good. So I was looking for another solution for that, and then I ran across the Touch Mouse, and I had seen, like a year ago, I think, I had seen some videos on Channel 9, one of Microsoft's sites, about some designers and things that were going through and creating this Touch Mouse, and I hadn't actually known that they came out with it until I started looking around and saw it and read some reviews on it, but it is a very stylish device, and and it's got quite the history behind it. And if you go to their website, which they've got a full product website dedicated to just the touch mouse, it looks awesome. You can read about the history of it and things. And I believe they make a comment in there about the fact that it's the fastest. One of the products, or one of the ways Microsoft took a product from an idea to retail the fastest without messing anything up. So they might have done this right.
Did that come out of their Garage program? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I didn't see anywhere where it came out of the Garage program like
that's one of their
the
R&D,
mouse.
Yeah, that's one of their R&D shops.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does it? I mean, it just looks like a regular mouse.
Yeah, it does look like a regular mouse. The back on it is it doesn't slope quite as high, so It's a little lower profile.
Right.
And then the front, where your fingers are, is a little longer, so you can do gestures on it. So
multi-touch.
Yes, it is multi-touch. You can do 2 fingers up is minimizing, minimizing a window. 2 fingers up is maximizing. 1 finger you can scroll left or right, up and down, and 2 fingers to the left or right will snap a window to the left or right of your monitor. 3 fingers down will minimize everything on your monitor. 3 fingers up will give you like an expose if you're used to that and seeing that feature within Apple. So it'll make kind of a small little snapshot of all your open windows, and then you can go click on that open window and it'll bring it down. So,
wow, that sounds pretty cool. And so no wheel, right? I mean, the wheel's gone, right? The wheel was replaced by this touchpad.
Yeah.
Thing. And is it the same kind of touchpad that you'd find on the bottom of your laptop?
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. It's got little little dips in it, so you can kind of feel where you are on the mouse, and you can kind of get a feel for how far you're moving your finger and things on it to try to help guide you. The one thing with the click mouse that some people have said is if they're heavy gamers and getting this mouse kind of steering away from it because it doesn't have that, it doesn't have the wheel, and in a lot of games, first-person shooters and stuff, you use the click down of the wheel to either bring up menu options or to zoom sometimes and things like that, and you lose that feature when you get this mouse.
Okay. All right. So a little bit of change there.
Yeah.
And is it the size? So it's pretty much the size of just a regular sized mouse, shaped a little bit different.
Yeah. It does take a little getting used to. I think my hands are pretty average, but I find myself taking my thumb and my pinky and kind of putting those on the mouse pad around it, and then kind of setting down on the mouse. Do you
find you make gestures by mistake?
Yeah, and when I was reading reviews on Newegg and Amazon and stuff, that was one thing that people were saying. If you're used to right clicking but leaving your left finger touching the mouse, or vice versa, you can cause glitches and cause it not to work right sometimes. But I'm one of the people where I raise my other finger, so it naturally works just fine for me.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm sure I would screw that up someday. That seems like that stuff never goes right for me. Mm-hmm. Or works the way it should.
Yeah. And I think so. On the website and things, there, Microsoft's saying it's the most fluid way to navigate Windows 7, and my thought is that Microsoft's really pushing this and putting it out there to see how many people gravitate to it and use it, because with Windows 8 I see a lot of functionality, and I see where a mouse like this could really be used with that Metro UI,
right,
the start button and stuff.
So do you envision then, so you got your Windows 8 screen, it's got the tiles that go from left to right. Would you swipe with a maybe a 2-finger swipe moves it one way or the other? And then does a tap, so then does a tap control where the focus is going to be on the screen? Is that, would you see that, how it would work in Windows 8?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that 1 finger left or right would move you left or right.
Okay.
And then a 2-finger pullback would kind of do the zoom out I forget what keyboard keys you press in Windows 8 to make it do that, and then you could just click on because it gives you kind of sections in Windows 8 in the Metro UI. You could click down on that, and it would bring you into it, kind of thing.
So if I took my fingers and twisted, would I do a barrel roll?
Possibly.
Just kidding.
I know Microsoft is looking at, and I'm not sure if they have already, but opening up the SDK for the mouse and allowing third parties to add to the gesture and the multi-touch of the mouse.
They've been pretty good with opening up their UI, I think, since and all the APIs since the Connect, haven't they? So I think it's that to me that's a really good sign that Microsoft are sort of starting to give a bit back to the community and open things up like that.
Kind of scary when Microsoft becomes open.
Yeah.
You kind of go, what?
Yeah. Yeah, and all the negativity that comes with going to a third-party site and downloading something for Windows and things can get pretty scary.
So you say the mouse is a keeper, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I was talking to had a conversation on Google Plus with PC Doc regarding the mouse, and him and I talked back and forth, and I believe he picked one up as well. I haven't gotten back to him to see.
Of course, why wouldn't he pick one up?
It would have been, Michael have two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there more than one kind? Because if there was, he bought them all.
There are. There's the black version I have, and then there's an artist version that's white with some graphics on the touch.
Really?
Yeah.
How big is the pad on the artist version?
It's the same size as the black version. So in the total, I'd say with the length of the touch part, it probably takes up 60-70% of the mouse.
Okay. So how big do you think the pad is, though? If in inches, maybe.
Probably like 2.5, 3.
Okay, so still fairly small.
Yeah.
But they call it the artist version?
Yeah, so they've got the black version, and then they've got an artist version.
And what makes the difference? The reason I ask is because my son's an artist, so maybe this is a Christmas present.
Yeah.
What's the benefit to the artist version versus the regular one?
Yeah, the only difference is it's white and it's got some graphics on touch versus a bunch of things. So it's
$50 more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So
the black version looks better to me, anyways.
Okay. That's funny that they would call it the artist version. I thought maybe it had a larger touchpad, or it was optimized for an artist. Sometimes on the pad, sensitivity is what's important, right? So depending on how hard you push on the pad will determine how much volume or tone that you get from it. And it's one way of measuring, gradients of things is how much pressure you apply. So I thought maybe they'd put one of those little pads in there. And if it was $50 more for a more sensitive pad, I'd get it. But it's just the same thing in white. And I know it's not $50 more. What did that run you, Gordon?
I found it at a retailer for $60.
That's not.
So it's normally $79.99.
Okay, that's not too bad for a premium mouse.
Yeah, and so I had mentioned that Microsoft did a really good job with the website that they've dedicated to this touch mouse, but the packaging, and I've gotten a few share of Microsoft products over the years, but the packaging on this thing was done perfectly, almost to the point of as good as Apple does packaging on their devices.
Oh, careful now.
I said almost. So everybody should be fine with that.
People will rise up and revolt. They will take to the streets if Microsoft starts packaging as well as Apple does.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. And do you think that's available? I haven't seen one of those yet. I could go out and test one of those out at a big box store or something like that, couldn't I?
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yep. I bought it at Office Depot. And they said that they, as a retailer, actually run deals on things when they first come out. So they actually do lowball the price to drive it a little bit. So,
all right,
if you have an Office Depot around, that's probably the best price, best place to get it.
About that. All right, good enough. And you'd said maybe you're doing a little write-up on that, so that may show up at the AverageGuy.tv here in the next couple weeks, maybe.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to see. Make lots of pictures.
I got a question. So from what I see of the shape on the picture here, it doesn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed, right? It's not contoured anyway like that. Left-handed or right-handed could use it just as easy, right?
Yeah, your left or right click, you would just go into the software and swap it, and that's it.
Okay, cool.
It does do, one of the gestures I forgot to mention was your thumb. You can go a thumb on the side of the mouse. You can go up to go forward, say in a web page, and down to go backwards in a web page.
Cool. Do you think that'll change? I know I've noticed my wrists hurt from time to time, and I am sure I'm going to have carpal tunnel surgery at some point in my life. As much as I've spent doing minor, whatever that causes, the motion that causes that. Do you think this changes that at all, or does it's just as bad?
I see myself doing more where my wrist is stationary and my hand is moving left or right, so I don't think that's going to help.
Okay. All right. Yeah, more, what do they call that motion? You know what I'm talking about? It's where
I don't know what they call it.
Fine motor skill or something in there where you leave your hands and they don't move very much, but your fingers move a lot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I'm screwed. I better I should pay for surgery in advance. I can feel that one coming on already.
Sure, your insurance company is prepped.
Oh, shh. Don't tell them. Yeah, don't tell them. It's I'd love to get. We've talked about this before, but I'd love to get swipe, at least like the Connect features. Some of those features that I could just use for my screen if I wanted to move. Like if I wanted to move between, say I've got the browser up and it's full screen, and I want to flick in between the tabs, and if I just made a hand motion, maybe going left to right, it would just automatically turn those, go to the next tab. That'd be a nice feature that wouldn't cause me carpal tunnel.
Yeah,
so,
I could see the Connect being useful for forward and back things, up and down.
Yeah, some of the basic motions, flick it away, so mix the Connect with the WebOS card-like things. So you could, you put your hand up and the cards would come up, and then you would just point to one and slide it up, and it would just go off your screen. You wouldn't even have to touch your screen, right? That could be a really cool feature. So very good.
Have any of you guys used the Apple, I believe I'm calling it the right name, Mighty Mouse? Nope. With the gestures on top of it?
Yeah, no. Is that used in what context?
Well, I believe this Microsoft's Touch Mouse is very similar to Apple's mouse, in which case where you can do gestures on top of the mouse to do things.
Yeah, they call it a Magic Mouse. Magic Mouse. So it's got like the touchpad built into the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've used it. I find it a bit difficult to use, probably because I'm not used to it. More so than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does take a little getting used to. I had a 14-day return policy on it, so I was willing to try it out for 14 days. And the first night that I tried it out and was still iffy. The next day, still kind of iffy. And by the third day, I was finding myself used to it. And with some of the gestures and stuff that it does, it'd be hard to go back now.
Yeah, and those kind of things, if you don't find yourself just loving it after a day or so, I think it's kind of doomed.
Yeah.
At that point, you kind of go, I don't know. I'm not sure this is going to work for me. So, all right, Gordon, one more thing. You had a note here about web browsing.
Yeah, so I just had a question. I think it's interesting how people do different things, how they interact with different things. And one of those was, with the different browsers, different websites that we look at each day, and managing a task of opening up things, not necessarily news sites, because pulling an RSS feed or going directly to that site, but things that we open up every day with our browsers. We know we're going to open up an email, a calendar, Google Docs, a task list possibly, and things, and just making that simple. I used to use a bookmark folder and then just right-click on it and open as tabs, so it would just open all of them up in a tabbed feature. But then that was locked down to the browser I was using, and if I wanted to use Internet Explorer, if I wanted to use Chrome, Firefox, I ran into issues. And I'd say probably for the last 2 years I've been using Chrome solely without any other browser, and I just recently switched over to using the Chrome web app. So I have a Gmail app, a Google Calendar app, a task list, Google Docs application. I open up the browser, and they're all just right there. I just click on them, it opens it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Andrew, what do you use? Do you do anything like that?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I've I was going to say, as you were talking about that, Gordon, I was going to say, I bookmark those in the in the upper tab and just go back to them when I need them. And I do that here at home, but that doesn't follow me to work on my laptop.
It should.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just talking about the bookmarks along the top, not the web apps on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you're not using the sync feature in Google Chrome.
No, and I probably should. That, Gordon, I tell myself all the time, because I really go to about 8 sites, then that's it. And I'm tempted just to have it open those 8 sites every time I open up, anytime I open up Chrome, anywhere where I'm logged in, just open up those 8 sites. And I've never sat down and just done that.
Yeah, and that before I used the web store with the web apps on the homepage within Chrome, I used to do that, and what I used to do is I used to pin them, so it would make small, short little tabs over on the left, and would just stack them every time I opened up the browser. But then I'm not sure if they fixed this yet because I haven't used it in a while, but the issue I would have then is I would pull a tab or open up another tab, pull it off, and create its own page. If I closed that window that had all the pinned tabs in it, and then I closed the website page that I don't normally go to, the next time I would open Chrome, it would lose all my pinned sites.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a little tricky, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
John, do you do anything special with your stuff on the browser?
No, I just got my favorite bookmarks at the top, and that's it. Like you say, maybe about 8 sites that I regularly go to, and that's it.
When I need Google Analytics, I just go to Google and type in the word analytics, and that's the first thing that comes up. Or AdSense is another one I visit every couple days to see how the ads are doing out there on the site. I just type in AdSense and it goes right to it. So I've gotten kind of keyword-ish, in my browser. Of just typing in right to it if I'm going to Rad Racing or if I'm going out to the averageguy.tv or homeservershow.com. I'll literally just go to the browser and type in homeservershow, and it finds it within 3 or 4 letters. You hit enter and you're done. So I don't know. I don't know if that's efficient or not.
I know Rich O'Neill did say, I think he had a plugin for one of his browsers that he said, he just would type in like 2 letters and then that's it. It was like a shortcut.
Right.
And that's it. And then it would go to his site. So you don't even have to type in
Yeah.
Google.com, just GOO, and boom, it goes.
Or G, right? I mean, G would get you there in that case if you're going to Google or you could create some shortcuts that way.
As long as you don't delete your web history.
Yeah.
And I know when I used to use OpenDNS, there was a feature within there where you could set up websites and you could give them a 1-letter. So if I hit G, it would open up Gmail.
They have since closed that down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it was nice.
Rich corrected me on that a couple weeks ago because when Rich was on the show talking about this, I said, but in OpenDNS, and he put his finger up and said, no, and it's actually still on the site, but the functionality no longer works. Because I was wondering why when I was attached to OpenDNS, and I used to have a shortcut YM for Yahoo Mail, and it wasn't working, and I thought, maybe I got something misconfigured on the network or whatever. Well, they somehow stopped supporting that functionality, which was a bummer.
Yeah.
Because that was a good way to do it at the router level, so all the PCs. But that still doesn't follow you to work.
No.
So, all right, Gordon, anything else?
No, that was all I had for tonight.
Guys, John, anything you want to... we brought you in for color commentary. Anything you need to add?
No, everything is perfect.
Wow. Perfect.
Yeah, everything is good.
Well, you do live in Canada.
Yeah, we don't expect a lot and everything, as long as it works and, we're laid back, relaxed. It's like
we don't expect a lot. I like that.
Yeah.
We don't expect much. Well, guys, I do appreciate you coming out tonight. And John, thanks for filling in for Christian and Gary. I appreciate you always just being a pinch hitter for us. So thanks for coming out.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Gordon, always good to have you on. I know you're a busy family guy and always trying to get the angle on the new tech business, but I appreciate you taking some time to be on the show tonight.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure to be on.
It's good to have you. And Andrew, of course, it's always good to have you out, and you bring some international flair to what we're trying to do here. And just to remind us, it's not that way. It's not always that way in the U.S., right? Because sometimes we get very U.S. centric, and it's not just the U.S. that we have to be concerned about, because the rules can be a little different in different places, right?
Yeah, they can be. I think the predominant difference that we see is probably around the telecommunication industry. So, internet providers and the like. I think, you guys get the luxury of cutting the cord a bit more than we do.
Yeah, well, and I think we've got some more unlimited stuff that doesn't make its way to Europe or Australia. So
we're starting to see a lot more of it, but population size has a very large impact on it as well. I think. Yeah, the market size as well.
Right. Well, total population there in Australia is what?
Oh, I don't know. You keep asking me that, and I never know.
You need to look that up, put it on a Post-it, and stick it on your monitor, so I can.
About 22 million at the moment.
Okay. All right. So about Los Angeles. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, thereabouts.
I don't know. LA's a big freaking place, but Andrew, we did get last night on the Home Server Show. We another guy from Melbourne joined us. So his name was. Yeah, so name is Daniel, and so you have, there's two of you in Melbourne that listen to. I'm just joking. Well, thanks for coming out tonight, and I'll remind the listeners that if they want to head over to theaverageguy.tv, Andrew always does a smashing job on the show notes with all the links that we talked about, and even some that we didn't talk about show up in the show notes. So, Andrew, thanks for doing those. Always appreciate the work that you do on show notes. And before appreciate it. Before I totally lose my voice, if you want to contact the show, send us an email, podcast, even though I said email's dead during the show. I'm pretty sure I said that. Podcast at theaverageguy.tv, or track me down on that newfangled thing called Twitter I'm joking, at Jay Collison. And I'll remind folks, we have set up all the RSS links if you want to listen to this show every week, and I don't know why you'd want to now after I've said that, but you can head over to theaverageguy.tv. We have all the links that you need to automatically download it to iTunes, your iPhone, iPad, or iPod, and any Android device. Gentlemen, thanks for coming out tonight. We'll do it all again next week, 7 o'clock. Good night.
Have a good one.
Oh, man. Sorry, I kind of blue screened right there at the end.
Blue screen. That's going away,
Yeah. I haven't had a blue screen in Windows. It's been a long time.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Are you serious? You blue screened?
No. My brain blue screened.
Okay.
I felt, I don't know if it's the pizza that Sarah brought down or what, but...
Oof, don't say that.
It's the show's over. She can't... I guess she could still talk bad about me in the forums there, or out in the chat.
Yeah. I was talking to her a little bit about it. She said she was going to push you to get an iPhone there, Jim.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Oh, and her phone just told her 21.5 million people in Australia.
Okay.
Good job, Siri.
So that's what the iPhone told her. She's kind of hooked on that phone. I'm thinking.
Has Siri told her where to put the body yet?
We've asked her that a couple times. No good ideas of where to put the body.
What's the territory like? What's the size of your territory in Australia?
The landmass?
Landmass, yeah. Because we, like in Canada, we're only 34 million people.
Really?
I think, yeah. In Canada, it's,
wow.
Canada is larger than the U.S.
Yeah.
And we only got 34 million.
You had a lot of frozen tundra.
Yeah. A lot of cold stuff. Quebec is huge. The province of Quebec, it's huge.
Yeah.
You could drive for days and days and never get to the other side.
7,692,030 square kilometers.
692,000?
Yeah.
Wow. That doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay, hang on. Hectares or acres?
Nothing. Compare it to the size of the U.S. Is it as big as Texas? Bigger than Texas, right?
God, now you're asking. Here we go.
Ask Siri.
Ask Siri. Slightly smaller than the US is what internationalcare.com.au says.
All right.
Oh, let me see. Canada, it says 998. What, 998?
Best guess for Australia area is 7.6 million square kilometers.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Let's say
7.6?
7.6 square kilometers.
Texas. Let's see if Google can tell me compared to the size of Texas.
Okay. I see Canada here is 9.9.
9.8 square 9.8 million square kilometers for the United States.
Oh, here we go. So Texas is about 690,000 square kilometers.
Say that again?
Texas is about 690,000 square kilometers. Yeah.
But don't tell the Texans that. They think they're bigger than everything.
Yeah,
So-
look at this one here. Freshwater lakes in Canada take up 891,000 square kilometers. That's one thing we got is a lot of clean water.
So only Russia is bigger
That's
than Canada.
And the power's free too in Canada, right?
Cheaper.
You're never going to end. We're never going to hear you do that, John.
I don't know, man. Well, that's it. Let me tell you, man. You see sometimes in the States, when you guys lose some power, you see our hydro trucks, man. They just get on the highway and they fly down. Some guys here are missing power, and those trucks are saying, "Screw this, we're making money in the States, man." And they just get on the highway. They go down to the eastern seaboard there. They're just like, all you see these gray trucks just going down. Incredible. And some of these trucks are huge. I mean, I had at one time a problem in front of the house, and this one guy, back in the day, you had a guy with a couple of trucks and about 6 or 7 guys show up. Now one guy shows up with this huge giant truck. He pulls up there. The truck must be worth over $1 million. The legs come out, bounce the truck, the guy goes in the bucket, comes up, some crane, like he's got like a robot arm that grabs the transformer, puts it up, and it's like everything is done like computer robots and stuff like that. Incredible, the technology. So that was impressive. So anyway, yeah.
So it says here the United States actually has greater land area than Canada. The USA's land area is 9.1 million kilometers, but the USA's total area at 9.8 million kilometers is slightly less than Canada's.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
more
'cause we got that
land.
big Hudson Bay there in the
Yeah.
middle. That's a lot. That's a giant water there. And it's funny because my son pointed out. He says, when you look in books, he says if you looked at like geography books that were, basically any geography book, he says like in school, he says they always represent the United States as being bigger than Canada. Like if you look at it, you'll see picture-wise, it's like the U.S. is bigger, and he said that's not, and it's not true.
Yeah.
Weird.
Although Canada is a huge country, it covers less than 2% of the Earth's surface of 510 million kilometers. That's the Earth's surface, 510 million.
Everybody usually lives along the bottom, unless you're like in Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick. There, everybody's like that's it. If it wasn't for the rail system, we'd all be Americans. If it wasn't for the Canadian rail system there, that's it. Montreal, Vancouver, man. It's like the guy has to go. It's like, why don't you just go down to Maine and get what you want? No. We got to drive to Vancouver, dude.
If it weren't for the French-Canadian War, right? No, is that what it was called? What was the one that where Canada, a lot of the land was divided at that point and between the U.S. and Canada? I'll have to look it up. Does anybody live in the Northwest Territories? Anybody?
Yeah.
It can't be many. Dude, that's way up there.
My old neighbor used to live there. My old neighbor, the guy that lived right next door to me.
Really?
These guys were like Inuits.
Yeah.
Man, like I go outside in cold weather. Like again, it's Celsius, but compared to the United States, I mean, we go out, we go to the States and everybody's like bundled in high, but it's what you get used to, right? Everybody's like, and us, we're out there like do, and these guys, they're freaking the snow and blizzard and everything, and these guys are out in t-shirts. It's like they got skin that's like brown skin, like like Eskimos,
Yeah.
and they're like, they just, man, you could throw a spear at the guy, they'll bounce off him. He's
just tough as nails.
Tough as nails. It's like, holy mackerel. Yeah, you got to be brutal. You got to be able to withstand that climate.
I put a link to the artist edition in the Skype chat there.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I'll throw that in the notes as well.
I threw it in on the Google Doc as well.
7 Years' War, in 1867. That was the one where that war divided or set a lot of what Canada is today. Ooh, the Canada Act of 1982. What was that, John? Let's see. The widening autonomy was highlighted by the Statute of Westminster. Oh, that's got to sound important.
Wasn't that when America sold it to the French?
I don't know. I need to know more about... I need to learn more about Canada, John. We need to do a Canadian This Week in Canada podcast.
I know a bunch of guys that went to play hockey. They went to Newfoundland, and they said it was incredible visiting Newfoundland because it's a remote place, and not a lot of people fly there and stuff. So everybody kind of looks alike. They're all like blonde hair, blue eyes. All the boys, all the girls. So everybody kind of looks like they're all related because they're always there, and they're
all got a nervous tick.
So it's some people from like whatever anywhere else come over there, and like the guy's like a French Canadian or he's a Portuguese guy or a German or Russian or Italian or whatever. It's like, wow, let me tell you go to the bar and it's like everybody just kind of looks at you and what's going on. So it's funny. It's quite interesting how well I'm sure there's a lot of places in the States like that. You go to certain areas and whatever, but that's it. This is it's because of the it's a separate whatever province.
Yeah, West Yellowstone would be the same.
Okay.
Based on my experience, I reckon they're all interrelated.
I missed the reference there, Andrew. What's the reference?
West Yellowstone, I reckon they're interrelated over there too.
West Yellowstone?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Interrelated, huh?
Interrelated, yeah. They all look alike. Yeah, bit of inbreeding going on there, I reckon.
Yeah. Brothers, married sisters.
I hope none of you guys are from that part of the world.
That's what some people say about South Dakota.
Or
but
Kentucky.
That's where I'm from, and I can assure
Kentucky.
you that's not the case.
To open the West, the government sponsored construction of 3 transcontinental railroads, including the Canadian Pacific Railway, opened the prairies to settlement with the Lands Act, Lands Act, and established the Northwest Mounted Police. That's the mounted. What are the Mounties? Is that what they call those?
Yeah, RCMP.
Yeah.
It was an acronym.
Canadian Mounted Police.
So the trains are really the only way to get across Canada, right? If you're going to go on the ground.
Yeah, well, that's that's it. I mean, they had trains before they had planes,
right?
So that's it. Everything was CN and CP. That was the way to to stay Canadian.
Well, God bless Canada, John.
Yeah, nice place.
I now know more about Canada than I've ever known.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, because my dad is Polish there, and he was in the Second World War, and when the war was finished there, they asked, they said, well, what country do you want to? Because he visited all kinds of countries, being in the military, he went all over the place, and they say, okay, we give you a free ticket, go to whichever country you want to live. That's where we'll bring you, and he picked Canada. So we could have been Americans, we could have been German, we could have been whatever.
And did he
been
move,
Australian, maybe,
Did he move there to Montreal?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's you guys have always lived there.
Yes.
It says here Canada is one of the world's wealthiest nations with a high per capita income. Wealthiest nations. Nice.
There you go.
With the things you can learn on Wikipedia. Wow, actually the population in 1851, 2.4 million. That's it. In 2011, 34 million. Was that a question? 30? Yeah, you said that, didn't you,
yeah.
John? 34 million?
34 million.
That's not a lot. That's
not a lot.
what the population of California is.
Yeah, I mean, like when I see these shows, or news or whatever in New York, and the people are on the sidewalk, and there's just, thousands or hundreds of people walking. It's like, holy mackerel, I don't know. We need our space over here. We need some elbow room.
Yeah, there's lots of room there to move around in there.
Yeah.
Let's see, population of California.
That's a beautiful country too. Like it's not like if you go downtown Montreal, there's not like papers flying in the street and garbage and stuff like that. It's all nice and clean.
Right. 2010 in population of California, 37 million. More people in California than all of Canada.
There you go. See, but that's what's good about when you have I guess a good thing and a bad thing, right? When they bring in new technology like that's a new cell phone, whatever, 3G. It's like, like, can they afford to implement it because they have so many people using it? But then they're saying, well, we have so many people on the old system.
Right.
So we don't want to move to the new system.
Right. We have the same problem here in the state of Nebraska. We just don't have enough people. It's a people problem, right? You just don't have enough people to support it.
Yeah, but then when you have enough people, then to make a change, they say like, well, yeah, that's it. We have too many people on the old system, so we don't want to change. It's like, yeah, but you're going to make your money back within whatever. It's like, so, I don't know, sometimes if you have to build a tower, you have to build a tower. Whether it serves, one person or, 10,000 people, you still have to build a tower,
Right.
Spending money to make money.
Yeah.
All right, gents. Thanks for coming on.
All right.
Good chat. Rich, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll do Rich's random podcast generator on Sunday. You'd all be welcome back. Sunday, 2 Central, 3 Eastern. If you want to join us. That works for you, right, Andrew? That's Monday morning? It's too
Monday
early.
Mornings,
it's
Monday
very
mornings.
early.
Bitch,
yeah. Yeah. Nobody wants to wake up at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning and do a podcast. I'm sorry. That's just not as much fun. But for some reason, Rennie will be out there listening.
It tends to lose its sex appeal at that time in the morning.
Yeah, I'd say in a hurry. So, all right, gents, I'm going to close it up.
All right, guys.
Everybody have a good night. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.